JKR അക്കാദമിയിലേക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും ഒരിക്കൽ കൂടി സ്വാഗതം. ആദ്യം തന്നെ റിക്വസ്റ്റ് ഉണ്ട്, നിങ്ങൾ ആദ്യമായിട്ടാണ് ഈ ചാനൽ കാണുന്നതെങ്കിലോ ഇതുവരെ സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല എങ്കിലോ ഇന്ന് തന്നെ സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്യണം. കാരണം ചാനൽ സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്ത് പരിപാടി ക്ലിക്ക് ചെയ്താൽ മാത്രമേ ഞങ്ങളുടെ ക്ലാസ്സുകൾ അപ്പോൾ തന്നെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് നോട്ടിഫിക്കേഷനിൽ ലഭ്യമാവുകയുള്ളൂ. അപ്പോൾ PSC അക്കൗണ്ടന്റ്, ജൂനിയർ അക്കൗണ്ടന്റ്, അക്കൗണ്ട്സ് അസിസ്റ്റന്റ്, അസിസ്റ്റന്റ് ക്രെഡിറ്റ് ഈ തസ്തികകളിലേക്ക് എല്ലാ അപേക്ഷ സമർപ്പിച്ച ഉദ്യോഗാർത്ഥികൾക്കും എല്ലാ ക്ലാസ്സുകളും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഈ ചാനലിലൂടെ ലഭ്യമാണ്. ക്ലാസ്സുകളെല്ലാം തന്നെ പ്ലേലിസ്റ്റിൽ അപ്ഡേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. പുതുതായിട്ട് ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യുന്ന ഉദ്യോഗാർത്ഥികളെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം പ്ലേലിസ്റ്റിൽ ക്ലിക്ക് ചെയ്താൽ ക്ലാസ്സുകളെല്ലാം തന്നെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ലഭ്യമാവുന്നതാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ഇന്ന് നമ്മൾ രണ്ടാമത്തെ റിവിഷൻ ക്ലാസ് ആണ് ഞാൻ നിങ്ങളിലേക്ക് എത്തിക്കുന്നത്. കമ്പനി ലോയുടെ 75+ സെലക്ടഡ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ആൻഡ് ആൻസേഴ്സ് ആണ് ഇന്നത്തെ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ ഉൾപ്പെടുത്തിയിട്ടുള്ളത്. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ക്ലാസ്സിലേക്ക് കിടക്കാം. ആദ്യത്തെ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ നോക്കാം. The most important document of a company is its Memorandum of Association. The most important document of a company is its Memorandum of Association. The rules and regulations for the internal management of a company are contained in its Articles of Association. Articles of Association. Mark out the document that need not be prepared and registered with the registrar of companies in public limited companies. Articles of Association. Articles of Association. The union government may appoint such a number of directors in a company as it may deem necessary as its own initiative. As its own initiative. A director's election takes place in a general meeting through a separate resolution passed by a dash majority. Single majority. Single majority. Which of the following is beyond the powers of the board of directors? Which of the following is beyond the powers of the board of directors to remit the payment of any debt due by a director? The minimum subscription is to be received within a dash days of the offer. 120 days of the offer. 120 days of the offer. The private company requires conversion of a public company into a dash. A special resolution and union government's approval. A special resolution and union government's approval. A share certificate once issued by the company binds it in two ways, namely by estoppel as to little and by estoppel as to payment. By estoppel as to payment. Share capital of a company means equity and preference share capital. Share capital of a company means equity and preference share capital. A shareholder in a company can be its debenture holder. A shareholder in a company can be its debenture holder. The dividend on preference capital is paid dash only when the directors recommend it. Only when the directors recommend it. Where a company has 3 directors, the maximum remuneration payable to all of them is dash percentage of the annual net profit. 10% of the annual net profit. 10% of the annual net profit. A person cannot act as a managing director of more than dash companies at a time. 2 companies at a time. 2 companies at a time. The partnership entity may be regarded as neither a legal nor an accountable entity. The partnership entity may be regarded as neither a legal nor an accountable entity. The amount of minimum subscription may be learned from the prospectus. The amount of minimum subscription may be learned from the prospectus. When can a private company commence business? After obtaining the certificate of incorporation. After obtaining the certificate of incorporation. An exception to the doctrine of constructive notice is dash. The doctrine of indoor management. The doctrine of indoor management. A prospectus is to be issued within a dash days of registration. The prospectus is to be issued within a 90 days of the registration. 90 days of the registration. All monies received with the application of shares are to be deposited dash in a special account opened in a scheduled bank for the purpose. In a special account opened in a scheduled bank for the purpose. The minimum subscription is to be received within a dash days of the offer. 120 days of the offer. 120 days of the offer. അടുത്ത question. The charter of a company refers to its memorandum of association. The charter of a company refers to its memorandum of association. Other question. An association of 30 persons not registered under the Companies Act but carrying on a business is an illegal association. Illegal association. Other question. A company is a juristic person with a perpetual succession dash. It is created by a process of law and can be put to an end only by a process of law. Other question. The Reserve Bank of India is an example of a statutory company. The Reserve Bank of India is an example of a statutory company. ഈ തസ്തികകളിലേക്ക് അപേക്ഷ സമർപ്പിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള ഉദ്യോഗാർത്ഥികൾക്ക് വേണ്ടിയുള്ള റാങ്ക് ഫയൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ലഭ്യമാണ്. റാങ്ക് ഫയൽ ആവശ്യമുള്ള ഉദ്യോഗാർത്ഥികൾ നിങ്ങളുടെ മെയിൽ അഡ്രസ്സ് എനിക്ക് വാട്സാപ്പിൽ അയച്ചു തന്നാൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് റാങ്ക് ഫയൽ PDF ആയിട്ടാണ് തയ്യാറാക്കിയുള്ളത്. അതുകൊണ്ട് റാങ്ക് ഫയൽ ഞാൻ മെയിൽ വഴി നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അയച്ചു തരുന്നതാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അതിന് ഇഷ്ടമുള്ള ഒരു തുക നിങ്ങൾ എനിക്ക് അക്കൗണ്ടിലിട്ട് തന്നാൽ മതിയാകും. റാങ്ക് ഫയൽ ആവശ്യമുള്ള ഉദ്യോഗാർത്ഥികൾ ഇന്ന് തന്നെ നിങ്ങളുടെ മെയിൽ അഡ്രസ്സ് എനിക്ക് വാട്സാപ്പിൽ അയച്ചു തരിക. അടുത്ത ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ. Companies Act 1956 was repealed by Companies Act 2013. Companies Act 1956 was repealed by Companies Act 2013. Other question. When did Companies Act 2013 came into force? 20th August 2013. 20th August 2013. Other question. Companies Act 2013 consists of dash sections. 470 sections. 470 sections. Registration of a company is compulsory. Registration of a company is compulsory. Other question. Minimum number of members in case of private company is 2. Minimum number of members in case of private company is 2. Other question. Minimum number of members in case of public company is 7. Minimum number of members in a case of public company is 7. Other question. Maximum number of members in case of public company is no limit. Maximum number of members in case of public company is no limit. Other question. A company incorporated by the Act of Parliament is a company incorporated by the Act of Parliament is a statutory company. Statutory company. Other question. A company to issue seat equity shares must pass a special resolution. A company to issue seat equity shares must pass a special resolution. Other question. Proxy need not be a dash of the company. Proxy need not be a shareholders members of the company. Proxy need not be a shareholders members of the company. Other question. Managing director will be counted as dash while calculating maximum limit in case of private company. Member. Managing director will be counted as member while calculating maximum limit in case of private company. Other question. A company not declare dividend at statutory meeting. A company not declare dividend at statutory meeting. Other question. Property of the company belongs to company. Property of the company belongs to company. Other question. Which company shares can be freely transferable? Which company shares can be freely transferable? Private company. Which company shares can be freely transferable? Private company. Other question. Debenture holders are creditors. Debenture holders are creditors. Other question. Dash is the official recording of the proceedings of a meeting. Dash is the official recording of the proceedings of a meeting. Minutes. Minutes is the official recording of the proceedings of a meeting. Other question. Register of deposits should be maintained for 8 years. Register of deposits should be maintained for 8 years. Other question. Stamp duty to be paid at the time of issue of share certificate is nominal. Stamp duty to be paid at the time of issue of share certificate is nominal. Other question. In case of appointment of directors, that form is to be filled. In case of appointment of directors, 29 form is to be filled. Question. Private company can start its business immediately after the issue of a certificate of incorporation. Private company can start its business immediately after the issue of a certificate of incorporation. Question. An appeal is made to whom against stock exchange for refusing the permission of listing SAI. SAI. Question. Signature of memorandum and articles should be done by dash number of persons in case of private company. 2. Signature of memorandum and articles should be done by 2 number of persons in case of private company. Question. The expenses of holding an EGM by the requisitionist will be ultimately borne by dash company. Borne by company. Question. The term company is defined under which section of the act? The term company is defined under which section of the act? Section 3(1). Section 3(1). Question. Minimum paid up share capital in case of a private company is dash. Minimum paid up share capital in case of a private company is 1 lakh. Minimum paid up share capital in case of a private company is 1 lakh. Question. A company can change its name by passing either by special resolution or by ordinary resolution. A company can change its name by passing either by special resolution or by ordinary resolution. ഈ തസ്തികകളിലേക്ക് അപേക്ഷ സമർപ്പിച്ച ഉദ്യോഗാർത്ഥികൾക്കുള്ള റാങ്ക് ഫയൽ ലഭ്യമാണ്. റാങ്ക് ഫയൽ ആവശ്യമുള്ള ഉദ്യോഗാർത്ഥികൾ നിങ്ങളുടെ മെയിൽ അഡ്രസ്സ് എനിക്ക് വാട്സപ്പിൽ അയച്ചു തന്നാൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് റാങ്ക് ഫയൽ ഞാൻ PDF ആയിട്ടാണ് തയ്യാറാക്കിയിട്ടുള്ളത്. റാങ്ക് ഫയൽ ഞാൻ മെയിൽ വഴി നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അയച്ചു നൽകുന്നതാണ്. ആ റാങ്ക് ഫയൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇഷ്ടമുള്ളൊരു തുക എനിക്ക് അക്കൗണ്ടിലിട്ട് തന്നാൽ മതിയാകും. നമുക്ക് അടുത്ത ക്വസ്റ്റിലേക്ക് കിടക്കാം. That stands in the fiduciary position of the company. Promoters stands in the fiduciary position of the company. Question. What is the punishment for directors, promoters and other persons for misrepresentation in prospectus? 50,000 2 years imprisonment. 50,000 2 years imprisonment. Question. If anybody wants to file a case against the company, they should file at what place dash? Registered officer. Registered officer. Question. East India Company was an example of a chartered company. East India Company was an example of a chartered company. Question. The Reserve Bank of India is an example of a statutory company. Reserve Bank of India is an example of a statutory company. The liability of a shareholder in a company limited by shares is limited to the unpaid value of shares subscribed by him. The liability of a shareholder in a company limited by shares is limited to the unpaid value of shares subscribed by him. Question. The articles of a company conflict with the memorandum dash. The articles shall prevail. The articles shall prevail. Question. Share capital of a company means dash. Equity and preference share capital. Equity and preference share capital. The dividend on preference share capital is paid dash only when the directors recommend it. Only when the directors recommend it. Question. A secretary should have sound knowledge of dash. A secretary should have sound knowledge of company law. A secretary should have sound knowledge of company law. Transmission of shares takes place in the following case. Operation of any law. Transmission of shares takes place in the following case. Operation of any law. Question. A share certificate is required to be signed by dash. A share certificate is required to be signed by 2 directors and a company secretary. 2 directors and a company secretary. Question. A dash is a combination of 2 companies to form a new company. dash a dash is a combination of two companies to form a new company. Merger. A merger is a combination of two companies to form a new company. Promoter is a person who dash takes part in the incorporation of a company. Takes part in the incorporation of a company. That's question. Age limit of directors in case of private company is no limit. Age limit of directors in case of private company is no limit. That's question. The liability of members if company is limited by shares, unpaid value of shares. The liability of members if company is limited by shares, unpaid value of shares. That's question. In the case of partnership firm, audit is optional. In the case of partnership firm, audit is optional. In the case of company audit, in the case of company, audit is compulsory. In the case of company, audit is compulsory. Other question. A company is named as government company if it is holds dash percentage of paid up share capital. A company is named as government company if it is holds dash percentage of paid up share capital more than 50%. More than 50%. Which companies are exempted to add limited or private limited at the end of their name? Association not for profits. Association not for profits. Other question. Under which section a private company can voluntarily convert into a public company? Under which section a private company can voluntarily convert into public company? 44. Section 44. Other question. Under which section a private company can be automatically converted into a public company? Section 43. Section 43. Maximum capital of a private company is unlimited. Maximum capital of a private company is unlimited. Transfer of shares in case of private company is restricted. Transfer of shares in case of private company is restricted. Maximum members in case of private company 50. Maximum members in case of private company 50. അപ്പോൾ ഇന്നത്തെ ക്ലാസ് എല്ലാവർക്കും ഇഷ്ടമായി എന്ന് വിചാരിക്കുന്നു. ക്ലാസ് ഇഷ്ടമായി ലൈക്ക് ചെയ്യണം, ഷെയർ ചെയ്യണം, സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്യണം, പരമാവധി എല്ലാവരിലേക്കും എത്തിച്ചു കൊടുക്കും. ഒരിക്കൽ കൂടി നന്ദി പറഞ്ഞു നിർത്തട്ടെ. നന്ദി, നമസ്കാരം.